Yeah, we'll kick things off.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate it, Drew. And just a quick heads up that we will be recording this talk to share on YouTube for everybody who couldn't make it. All right. With that, let's get started. All right. Sweet. Can you all see my slides? I'm going to take the silence as a yes.
Yeah, we can.
All right. Cool. Thanks for coming to the talk. My name is Danny Schlitt. For those who don't know, currently holding the world record for the longest send. And today I'm going to be talking about Headspace and highlining, how to develop it, and how to help people out at different stages of their journey. So that's kind of my tagline. Like, you want to stand, take more steps, or send. I've had a lot of chats with people around rigs and at the end of the day over dinner, and on this topic, and hope it translates to this format. All right. So the basic gist of what I'm going to be saying today is that highlining is meditation, and the key to enjoying highlining, to accomplishing your goals, ascending further, is developing your ability to meditate. So as we go through these different progressions in the highlining, in highlining, I'll keep coming back to return to your breath. But it's important to stay focused on the moment, and lastly, to stay positive and maintain a positive self-regard. We'll be going through each of the 3 steps here, like standing, taking more steps, and sending, with the hope that there's somebody on the call that this applies to, or maybe you learned something you can share with a friend at an anchor when they're working through their progression. So here we go. First steps, and here's a short video clip of me in 2015 of some of my first steps, like the second and third high line I ever got on. Lines were tight back then, and I remember being bruised after the first one. Anyways, what I want to talk about here with the first steps, before I get into that, that was probably the best whip of my life. I don't know if you guys remember your first whip, but I didn't believe the leash was going to work until it did. And when that leash caught, that was awesome. Anyways, so I think what those videos show that's important about taking like standing and highlining and getting the stand is commitment. And I know it's not helpful to just tell your friend or tell yourself to commit more when it's, when you're struggling, when you're scared. I'm speaking specifically of the people who are sitting on the line and trying to stand and are struggling to. I've seen a lot of friends in this stage and talked to a lot of people in this stage. Some of them spend years in it, and it's so cool when they break through and get out. And I know some people also give up at this stage. So what I want to say is that to commit to standing, it's important to kind of to build your experience with commitment So my biggest advice at this point in the journey is to actually find a smaller or an easier or basically a less scary challenge, whether that be going down to a midline or going back to a park line or going to a water line, or maybe even taking like on some challenges outside of highlining that scare you. And if you can build that mental habit of being afraid of something and then still doing it, you'll start to feel like, you'll feel that rush of satisfaction of having overcome your fear. And if you find something that scares you but that you can overcome, you can start to build a habit, to build a sequence of events that go well for you. And as then you move forward to take on bigger and bigger challenges, you have the experience and you have the emotional training to overcome. And when we're too scared to stand or too scared to do something, and after a few minutes we just can't push through, I think it's a sign that it's not that we're not capable of doing it, but that we need a smaller challenge to build our confidence. So with that said, if you're right on the edge and you're like about to stand but you're not quite there, there's a lot of things you can do in the moment. And this is where the meditation comes in. You can return to your breath. Like when I'm about to stand up on a high line that scares me or do something that's challenging, I'll often just feel my neck and take my pulse and acknowledge that my heart is beating really quick. And I'll try to breathe and just focus on the feeling of the air moving through my nostrils to calm myself down. And often visualize too, just like the movement that I'm about to do before I do it. Remind myself that I'm capable. And I think that is really helpful if you're someone who's trying to go from stuck to standing. If anybody has more questions about this phase or wants to talk about it more, we can do it in the Q&A. I think there's other people who can address this even better than I can, because this wasn't a phase that challenged me. I had a lot of time on the line before I got on a high line, like several years, and I also had a lot of experience with other sports practicing commitment. So this wasn't the crux for me. The first place that I did have significant challenges in my highlining progression was continuing to take steps. And this is a video from 2016 when I was in this phase. I could stand up, I could take a few steps, but the stress and the pressure and the tension of just standing on the high line was so intense that I would want to take the leash fall just to end the stress and the pressure. And this is I think the first phase. I think other people go through this one as well. I haven't had as many discussions about this, but I think this is the phase where it really starts to the head game and the headspace and the ability to relax, drop into the moment is really crucial. Because at this point, every step is a commitment, but we got to take the pressure down a bit. So each step isn't as hard as the first stand. For myself personally, at this phase, developing. For myself at this phase, I had a mantra. It was a song that I can't sing very well, but it went, letting go of the fear and stress, now is the time for heaven. And I would just repeat that to myself over and over in my head because it kept my head busy, had a nice positive message that reminded me that I am afraid and stressed, but I'm letting go of it because this is awesome and this is where I want to be. And in the process of letting go, it feels incredible. And yeah, that would help me take a few more steps before I would whip on these short lines. And yeah, let's just say again, there's a progression, and I progressively and recommend to anyone else that you can just progressively take a few more steps and challenge yourself to stay in that uncomfortable, stressful headspace just a little longer. And you'll find that, like, day over day, session over session, you can spend more time in that space, and it gets less stressful, and it takes more height or more time to reach your limit. And yeah, again, like, I would return at this stage of my progression. I wouldn't say I was doing it so consciously. I wasn't that into meditation yet, but I would tell someone now who's at this stage, like, focus on the feeling of the breath in your nostrils, focus on the feeling of the webbing in your feet, or maybe like the position of your body, and just really put all your focus there. When things come up, and I'll talk about this more later, but like when thoughts come up in our head, it's not about ignoring them or responding to them as much as it is, putting our focus back on the physical, back on. Yeah. So yeah, in the Q&A session at the end, if you have a mantra that you like, I'd love to hear it, because I've heard some pretty cool ones over the years. All right. So at all stages, especially the beginning stages, positive self-regard is so crucial. I know people who've made progress and are good, strong slackliners who use a lot of negative self-talk to motivate themselves. The classic, like, don't be weak, don't be pussy, don't be a little bitch, that kind of stuff. And that can work for some people, but I think even for the people it works for, they're like missing out on how much better they could do with some positive self-talk. And here, having friends who model it is really great. So if you got your friends yelling at you from the anchor, they're supporting you and they want to see you do your best, like, it's so much easier to internalize. Highly recommend surrounding yourself with great people who will support you. And luckily, that is, like, by and large, most of the Slackline community, which makes this such an awesome place. Yeah, and my one little twist I would add to remaining positive is that it's important to be, like, grounded in your positivity. Like, it's like if you give yourself false praise, you'll kind of know it's not real. So, like, taking the time to find the perspective that is positive and true at the same time is worthwhile. And that's often that we're learning, that we're improving. One of my favorite ones when I'm struggling is that, however much time I'm putting into this, on this line, into this walk, like, I'm getting some benefit from it. I'm getting practice with the exposure. I'm getting, more time on the line. I'm dialing in my posture, yeah, and I'm learning from it, so it's worthwhile. That's personally one of my favorites. All right. So while we're staying positive and we're taking steps and we're meditating, I would say we often then have the next goal of sending the line, making it to the end. And some of you might know or remember the time some years ago where, like, there was this, like, idea of, like, should we try to send, or should it be like fuck sending? And, like, if you like give up on your desire to send, then you'll, like, have released some sort of, like, enlightened state where you will send. And, like, that's, like, I kind of get it, and, like, I see the value in that perspective. But for me personally, and I would recommend, like, if you want to send, own it. So for, like, me, I want to send. I, like, love that feeling. at this point in my slacklining progression, there are been some challenging, emotionally heavy, not heavy, but emotionally weighty lines, like the 3K and the 2K before that, where the team was expecting me to send, and there was pressure. Uh, so, and even before that, there was my own internal desire to send lines for whatever reason. Mostly because I thought I was capable. Maybe it was my PR. Maybe it was a very special line to me. And that desire is there. So I want to own that and just acknowledge that. And so for me, one way I've embraced that is I have a new mantra for when I'm starting big high lines, and that's that I'm sending, actively from the first step. And I just tell myself that it's until I fall, I'm sending. So from the first step, that's what I set out to do, and that's what I'm doing. And it feels good, and I enjoy it, and I recommend giving it a try if there's a line that you really want to send. Because I think there's a lot of benefit to acknowledging that, owning it, and then kind of front loading the send pressure, so to speak. So it's not so intense at the end. It doesn't sneak up on you. All right. I think this is also a good point to talk about just before getting on a big high line. That's become in recent projects, especially the 3K, that has actually become the biggest challenge for me personally, the most emotionally challenging time. And even then, I had some friends around me. I had the support of my partner Alex, and I had a team reminding me that they support me and they want to see me succeed. And it was there was the strong feeling of not even wanting to get on the 3K just before I got on, before I sent, because the pressure was so great. And it was a lot like the pressure when I was just trying to walk, just trying to send, or just trying to send a PR. I just wanted to be out of the tension. I wanted the high tension situation to be over. So I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to say these skills that we build stick with us, and if we keep increasing the challenge, then there's increasing pressure, and hopefully as we build our skills and our headspace, we can rise to meet the new challenges. Because honestly, when there's a good flow between your skills and your capabilities, we all know, when those align, it feels so good. All right. Anyways, that was a bit of a tangent, but now on to the middle of the line, especially big lines, something where you're going to spend 10, 15 minutes, half an hour, an hour. The challenge in the middle starts to become just losing focus. We all know big lines get easier, but out in the middle, you have so long that your thoughts can go here, go there. Often I've found that can lead me to falling. And whatever the thought is, whether it's negative self-talk, which I find is the worst. I get tense as soon as I start critiquing myself out there. Or even just what am I going to have for dinner? If instead of just being oh, I'm hungry right now, and what I should do, and what I try to do when I'm at my best is oh, I'm hungry right now. Put a label on it. But that's cool. I'll deal with that when I get off the line and refocus on my feet, my breath, my posture. If I start thinking about well, what am I going to go buy and cook? Then I get all up in my head and I'm not ready to react when I get off balance. So that is an example, a way of saying that like continually returning to our object of focus is the way to make it through. Hopefully at this phase and when we're on a big line, we have the body awareness and muscle memory to handle a bit of distraction, but we also have the mental capacity to return to our point of focus quickly enough that the slight distraction doesn't ultimately fall. And that's kind of how I've thought about my progression into big lining, as this like match between my like mental and physical capabilities. So that is to say, we should be developing our mental capabilities along with our physical ones as we progress in slacklining. And one of the reasons I love the sport, because it's like, I don't know, just walking is so simple, but the mental game is challenging. All right. Anyways, I feel like I'm wandering, but that is all to say, it's really important to just keep coming back to the breath. And a little tip: do it gently. Like, you don't need to berate yourself if you're like getting distracted. We all get distracted. That berating ourselves counts as going in our head. Like, again, got to be positive and just gently. Oh yeah, trying to think about my breathing. Trying to think about my feet. Trying to think about my shoulders. Keep going. All right. So the next phase of sending a big line, the one that we all know and hate, the heartbreak zone. And again, no surprise, I'm going to say that in these moments, the most important thing is come back to our point of focus, our breath, our feet, our body. The pressure really ratchets up in the heartbreak zone. For me personally, in the 3K, my brain starts, and I'm sure for anyone else in your own PR, we all have what we desire and what we're afraid of. For me in the 3K, it was like, oh, what is this? This is gonna be so sick. What's it gonna mean if I can send it? How are we gonna celebrate? What are there bigger implications? It'd be so cool to do. And then the like fear, like, oh, I'm so close. Like, if I fall, like, what's gonna, is it all gonna be for naught? Are we gonna like driven all the way out here and done this thing and barely have this line up, and so many people not gonna get to sesh, and it's not gonna be a record, and like but I'm like so close. I have the chance to make this awesome for me and for everybody else. And again, I just had to like label those and be like, yeah, I really want this, and yeah, I'm really scared if I fail, or like not scared but like anxious, like I really don't want to fail. And by like labeling them and just accepting that I was feeling that, I think I was able to go back to my breath, go back to my posture, and keep walking. The worst thing to do is engage with the feelings. Try to calm yourself down, talk yourself down from the excitement, or talk yourself up from the fear. I remember like years ago, like wanting to send like a 220 at the fruit bowl, and like my brain started planning the Instagram post in the heartbreak zone of like how I was gonna celebrate, and freaking fell because I was not in the moment anymore. So yeah, the secret here is to just keep coming back to the moment through our breath and through our body, even when the emotions get intense, and let them be intense, and still keep walking. And like, I can honestly say it's a really cool feeling to keep walking with that amount, like with the fear, with the joy, with the excitement. It's awesome. Just letting those emotions be is I think the only way to do it. And so with all that active meditation, the outcome's going to be a perfect walk, ascend. Maybe maybe we go weblock to weblock. Maybe we sit down in the no fall zones. But yeah, descending is just the outcome. It's just what happens when we practice moving meditation. And so to that end, I would say if you want to send bigger lines and you want to increase your PR, my biggest advice is like practice the sending headspace on smaller lines. Go to lines you know you can send. Be a little tired that day. I don't know, be a little hungover if you drink. Be not at your best. Try to find that headspace. Try to challenge yourself. How many times can you go to a line that's easy for you and do laps and send? Like training that headspace and continually returning to the moment takes time and doesn't, it's easier. It's much easier said than done. So putting in the practice is well worthwhile. And to that end, I would highly recommend seated meditation. I don't do it right now. I think I did it for a couple months, maybe a year during COVID, and I think it really helped. Like this is, in my opinion, hard mode. Like slacklining is like so awesome for meditation because it's so exciting and requires so much focus and it's engaging and like it just works for my brain and I bet it works for a lot of yours. That's why you're here. Seated meditation is like freaking boring. It's like I fall asleep. It's like my mind will just go and go and go on tangents like for minutes before I realize I'm like trying to just focus on the feeling of my breath in my nostrils. So yeah, this is like conditioning. If you really want to send big high lines and really enjoy the process, seated meditation is like training on hard mode. And if you want to learn, I highly recommend this book, The Mind Illuminated. I read it, I used it. I don't fully understand all of it or, I'm a master of it, but it's a book on meditation that breaks it down into a understandable progression where you can like see your progress. And there's like 10 stages of meditation, and you can sort of kind of gauge your mental patterns and your meditative experiences against what's described here, to understand where you're at, and then it'll give you suggestions on how to improve and how to prolong your ability to focus on your breath. Highly recommend it. I think this helped me a lot with highlining. So Mind Illuminated. So just to wrap it up and say it one more time, highlining is meditation. It's the mind game and headspace is all about returning to our breath, focusing on the next step. As you know, like no matter how far you want to send, it's always just one good step after another. So really simple out there. Thank God, all we got to do is take one step at a time, and it's good at the beginning, middle, and the end. And finally, just let it go. Not your desires, not your emotions, not your feelings, but definitely your thoughts. You can always come back to those and just embrace your breath and your next step. All right, and with that, I want to open it up to some Q&A, and I'll stop sharing my screen. And love to hear your questions or what you want to hear more about or whatever. So I'll check out the queue. All right, go for it, Jim.
Let me make myself off mute. That was so rad. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, everyone, for putting this talk together. That just got me so stoked. Like, everything you talked about is just, for me, at the heart of, like, everything when it comes to the Highline game. And the like you talked about the meditative and everything. That was super super rad. I guess my first question is, do you usually listen to music or not when you're highlining?
That's a good question. Depends on the mood, honestly. Sometimes, yeah, I've like jammed out to some house music and made it a party and enjoyed, and sometimes I've gone without music. Um, when I sent a 2K, I had music for the first 3/4 of the way, and then my playlist ran out, and like the last like half hour was like just my head, and that was like kind of a hard transition. I was like, fuck. Yeah, the music definitely helps get out of our own head. It was definitely on mode.
Yeah, yeah, no, as soon as you spoke about the like heartbreak zone, I just so many memories came back to me of like lines that were just like such a struggle bus and like mostly for like the headspace rather than like the line themselves. Like I just thought about the recently in Death Valley we did like a sand dune line that was like it was only 160 meters and like I there should have been like no reasons to not be able to send it, but for some reason like the webbing combo and everything made it so hard and like it became much more of a mental game like you talked about than like a physical game. Like as much as I would like step back into my like finding my breath and finding my step, like it didn't really matter because my headspace just wasn't there. Like I wasn't into that zone, and so music or no music, like nothing made it sendable to me. And like you talked about, it's like I wanted to send it, and like that pressure was on me because I was kind of the guy there to be like expected to send it, and it was like well, you know what? Like, I'm not even like I don't want to go right now. Like, we just finished rigging, and like just because it's my webbing, and everyone's like, "You're up next. You're first." And it's like, no, like I like I'm not ready. But yeah, I guess I also wrote a note down that you said you were asking about mantras, and that was super cool. That like everything you spoke about is so relatable, and I connect with it deeply because yeah, it's like for me at least, like I have my own history with what you were speaking about, and it brought me back to my whole journey. And back when I started, like I didn't have a mantra, but I did have that feeling of okay, like I need to settle down and breathe and find my headspace and now like every time I go on the line, doesn't matter whether I'm freestyling, trying to send, trying to like anything, it's like I have my mantra of like just thanking myself for being able to be in this space at this time, and then like that leads into what you were saying about like the present moment, and then being able to like figure out whether you're in that moment or stepping out of it. So like even before I stand up, I'm in that send mode of like I thank the elements. Like I thank the webbing, I thank Mother Earth, I thank the fire, the water, the air, like the earth, the anchor. Like I think everything, and like with the hope and like thought of, well, I just want to do this again. Like I want to be able to come back to this moment. So
Mm-hmm.
like I guess that's my mantra. It's like, and it hasn't been the same over the years, but recently it's always been like, thank you, Mother Earth, Mother Fire, air, water, and like just life around me, you know. And I hope, like you said, other people can have a mantra because I find it super helpful.
Cool. Thanks, Jim. That's awesome. Yeah, I love the focus on gratitude. That's so huge.
It's like such a privilege, in my opinion, to be able to do what we do, which is like just highline and find that feeling. So it kind of makes sense to over time just be thankful for it, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
100%. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate your
Yeah.
input. I think
Thank you, man.
yeah, you're welcome. Glad it was relatable. I think we'll move on
Yeah.
to the next question now. Go for it, Kyle.
Hey, thanks again for the talk. Super encouraging. You mentioned playing music. Any recommendations on earbuds, wired, wireless, how to keep them from falling out of your ears, how to not go out of range when you get out too far? Fill me in.
Yeah, yeah. all that. First off, good to see you again, dude. It's been a while since Moab. That was a great time. And,
Thank you.
Yeah. Man, I've done all kinds of stuff. I mean, definitely wired is the way to go. Attach it to yourself. I've like taped some AirPods to some paracord and tied it to my hat in the past. Like be creative, but I don't know. Yeah, wired's the way to go though. No.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Cool. Andy?
Yeah, what up, guys? Thanks for listening, Danny. It's been awesome listening and chatting with you. I was wondering if you had a direct relation to flow state versus meditative state, or if those are relatable for you, or if you know of any shortcuts that can kind of get you to that point without the full-on meditative state.
Sure. It's an interesting question. So I'm just kind of spitballing here, but like flow state, we relate with extreme sports, right? And it often happens like you're biking right now. That's like a flow state thing. You got to be heads up, paying attention, because there's danger. Same, like highlining brings that same element out, because we're in this incredible place, we're up high, or, we know our bodies are like, fuck this shit, like this is dangerous. That brings on the flow state. I think maybe I'm going to say them. They're like similar but different. Like you can reach the meditative state without the element of danger and like the heightened focus that just like sort of pulls us into. And I guess what I'm saying is that if you layer in the meditative practice into highlining, you'll be able to drop into the flow state better. I don't think there's really a shortcut to doing it consistently, for the length of for say an hour. But it's always, we'll say it's always available to you. Like you could have 5 seconds of just like nice present walking, in any session. That's what I got.
Thanks.
Good question though. Thank you. Cool. Next we'll go to next in the list I see is Drew. Go for it, Drew.
Mark Lasher might have been before me. I don't know if he put his hand down.
Okay. Yeah, Mark.
Yo, what's up, Danny?
Yo, good to hear you.
Yeah, you too, man. This is sweet. Yeah, I wanted to talk maybe about some of your mantras or about, like you mentioned, the 220 of the fruit bowl. Are there any other kind of close calls or ones that got away and things that you've like learned from those experiences? Any lines that you're like hungry for another chance at?
Totally. Yeah. So mantras. Let's start there. Now, I don't have as much of I don't have like a mantra I use regularly now. I might have ones that come up, like something's going on in my life and like I hear something that feels good and I use it for a bit. But I don't have anything at the moment that's as consistent as the one that I shared earlier was. I do like to I do like to cultivate gratitude right now. I do like to remind myself that this is the gift, like Jim was saying. Often I'll think about the fact that like everybody coming together and like rigging is like we're all like, it's kind of like, it's like a gift to each other. That's really cool. And like, then when we go out on our line, it's our chance to give everything we got to like give back to everybody who gave the opportunity to us. And then let's see, lines that were close calls. I've been thinking about this and I have a harder time getting to those memories. Like I know there was other ones there, but really for me, it was like this period of after sending the 220 in 2018 for like until like 2022, 2023. I think 2022, like 4 years or maybe 3 years, I don't know, where I just like didn't increase my PR for like a long time and just like kept working like the 250, 300 zone and just always having a fall or two. And it was just like a long plateau after like a year of like a huge, like I had 1 year where it was like, oh, my PR was like 100 feet at the beginning of the season and then it was like 220 meters by the end. But then I had like 4 years where it was just kept falling every once in a while. And I don't know, to that, I think to that I can say it's just part of the process and plateaus come.
Makes sense. I thought you were going to say you had a 4-year period where you just sent everything you touched.
No, I was just like trying to get on like 300-400 meter lines whenever I could, and just like fuck, fell once, dang it.
Nice. Thanks, man.
Yeah. Cool, go for it, Drew.
Yeah. Well, quickly, a mantra that's worked well for me that I think is pretty similar to yours and just like grounding has been mind, body, and soul. Of just like slacklining and highlining for me is an opportunity where the three, you have like the triple Venn diagram, and that's an instance where the three are all meeting for this one action. And just saying that to myself has always been, a really helpful tool to just do that grounding or do that like, meditative instance of letting go and focusing on the moment. But yeah, I wanted to maybe ask or highlight. I'm not even really sure if this is a full-fledged question, but it seems like a lot of your success or fun, however you'd like to frame it, has also just come from consistency. I mean, like that first video of you in France was from 2015, and you even said that there were, I don't know if it was years but like there was at least a meaningful time before that where you were just slacklining in the park. It really seems like you have lived and breathed slacklining, as like a full part of your life. I'm just curious, like any thoughts that you have on that specifically.
Yeah, sure. Consistency is definitely key. Like this head game that we're talking about, like comes after the actions are like ingrained into our bodies, where the best thing we can do is like get out of our own way and let our body know, let our body do what it knows how to do. And I think that's true when we're performing at our best and when we're learning and like dealing with that frustration. And I think that's the key to progression as well as to like peak performance, is just like being present in the moment. But yeah, like I had years before I got on my first Highline, and I had like a period from around 2018, I've been doing parkour a lot. Through college and just after college, and then around 2018 I was just out of college and I was like, oh, slacklining is going to be my main thing. I'm not going to like do parkour a couple days a week and slackline 1 or 2 days a week. Like I just started slacklining all the time. Like for pre-pandemic and during pandemic, my like weekly schedule was like Wednesday was the waterlining meetup, Thursday was slacklining in the park, Friday was prepping webbing, Saturday, Sunday was out highlining on the weekends, Monday was recovery day, and then like Tuesday I could like hang out with someone in my life who doesn't slackline, and I would do that like every summer for a couple years. And I think that period of just like really helped build the base.
Sounds like a good time.
It was a lot of fun. Cool. All right, go for it, Dylan. Oh, can't hear you. Still on mute.
Yeah, how's it going, Danny? I had a question. What's your resting heart rate when you're like in the flow state?
Yeah, that's a good question. I can kind of answer that. So I would walk with a heart rate monitor for a while, and I would often find that I wanted to be below 130. for me personally. Like, there's like the zone theory. If you read into endurance sports, there's like these 5 heart rate zones, and like you want to be in specific ones for specific levels of activity. And I would find that if I got above 130, I would like begin to lose my breath and get fatigued. But if I was like in the in the like 90s, like 100, I could sustain that for quite a long period of time. When I'm like walking, like that, I was like kind of training there and like kind of learning to freestyle when I was doing that. For like walking a big high line, what's my heart rate? I don't know. I'd probably guess 90, like elevated, not like my resting, which is like 60 last time I checked, I think. But yeah, probably elevated. But I don't know. I don't have heart rate data for for a big walk. But good question. Yeah, thank you. All right, Adam.
Hey, yeah, I liked everything that you had to say about the mental game. I think that's huge. I was wondering if you had any tips for physically training for big lines, or if that's something you even did, or if it was more just working up by just walking on bigger and bigger high lines. And also, I
Yeah,
guess if you like, what parts of your body were the most fatigued walking across the 3K?
totally. Yeah, so for big line training, for me, it was mostly just continuing to walk bigger and bigger lines and occasionally doing like 1K plus sessions when I got a chance. And by occasionally, I mean like maybe once, not even once a month, but sometimes a couple times in a month. So it was, I would not describe it as like a very strict training regimen, more as like a kind of like a long progression over years. Personally, I would say like occasionally doing like sessions on shorter lines, like maybe a couple times a month, that add up to the or exceed the full length of the big line that you're trying to walk is a really good idea and good plan. And I think I did just enough of it to squeak by. So, and then in terms of parts of my body that hurt the most, so my shoulders can take it by this point, but right when I got off, it was actually my my low back and my like right knee. The right knee is because I turn my right foot is a little duck-footed when I walk, and over that distance, like them not like having it not aligned does lead to some knee issues, and that's something I want to correct in my form. As for the low back, I don't totally know what to do about it. I think I need to get my core stronger and maybe do some squats as my low mid weight high volume to like develop some more strength. There is my guesstimation from what I know to improve that. I think my core tension wasn't quite enough, but there might be some technique thing that's putting too much strain on my low back. I don't know. Love to speak to a sports physiotherapist about that one if anybody knows one.
Awesome.
But yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
for the question. Yeah, you're welcome. Cool. Well, last call for questions. All right, go for it, Evan.
Hey, Danny.
Hey.
I missed the first part of the meeting, but I was wondering if you talked about how you breathe when you're big line walking.
Yeah, that's a great question. I talked a lot about focusing on my breath through my nostrils, but I never like explicitly said it. That I am trying to breathe through my nose, and
Okay.
if it's getting more intense, I'll like breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth, and that helps
Okay.
me like remain calm and kind of also as a gauge of like am I staying at a low enough like output? Like, am I like, I don't want to like that. I can like, if I can breathe through my nose, it's a pace I can maintain
Yeah, that makes sense.
throughout the session.
Do you like count at not count, but do you sometimes I like when I'm trying to catch my breath, I try to like breathe in for like 6 seconds, hold for a few seconds, breathe out. Do you know any of
Totally.
that?
Yeah, I'll often try to go a little slower than I would, like just without if I wasn't paying attention to it. So I think I'll do like 4 or 5, but I often kind of just play around with it
You
and
should just
find
show me
what.
how you breathe right now. That would be really cool.
All right, everybody join in. Let's all breathe together for a second.
Cool. Thanks so much, dude.
You're welcome.
Hey, Danny, what's for breakfast?
What's for breakfast? Oh man, it definitely depends, but like oatmeal, overnight oats for missions all day, every day. Be ready to go. Get out of the bed quick and go. Cool. You got another one, Mark?
Yeah. One question about like nourishment on the line. Are you taking any water or snacks out with you? Is that kind of part of the rescue plan? And also, do you have any plans to break your own record, or are you gonna slow down and let someone else catch up?
All right, so easy question first. Yes to water. I'll usually have like half a liter. Camelbacks are awesome, but I really want to get a really teeny one. I usually just have a little thing clipped on the side in case I need it. And then like I'll usually have like a little bit of like gummy bears or something, just some sugar, just a quick little burst, easy to eat and get at. I have like pulled them out of my fanny pack while like walking big lines. I think the most messed up thing I ever did was like get a Jolly Rancher out of a packet while walking a big line. That was so freaking annoying. But yeah. And then, okay, so plans to break my own record. I would really love to. Walking that line was incredible, and I think a big part of it was the fact that it meant so much to me and everybody else there. And the way to make that happen again is to go for the record again. No plans at the moment, but the dream that I have at this moment is to really that the next one be done right, and with the best chance we have to have the line up for a significant amount of time, so that the whole team can get like good sessions on it, and we can get a send train and do a multi-way record like they did in France. Like that's my dream. That being said, fuck, it's so much work, and it's going to be hard work, and I'm just going to have to go for it, and no promises, but I want it. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for the question. Thanks for the hard questions. Yeah, Jim.
Yeah, similar to the record question, send or no send, what, because you've been a part of these big lines and these rigs, where do we cap it? What do we think physics wise, forces wise? Where do we think, is it 5K? What can we, with what we have now, with this with the SK99 and like I'm big in rope access and safeties and stuff, and I'm just like, the progression has been so fucking crazy over. I mean, I've been at it like 9 years now, and when I started, like 100 meters was considered fucking insane, and now it's like, what's your take on that?
Yeah. So my take is this: it's very possible. Like it's an easy to run calculation of like at what point does the webbing break under its own weight, and like how do we dial that back by half to get like a safety, reasonable safety factor. I actually don't know that number off the top of my head for SK99. But I think the thing that we learned from the 3K is that real world conditions are crucial, and especially the wind is a huge factor. Like the margin gets thinner as we go longer, and like it takes just a little mistake in reading the forecast, or the forecast, weather doing what weather does and being a little different. And it doesn't take much wind before there's a huge amount of force on these lines. So it's sort of like this intersection of like, well, how safe is that specific line going to be at that spot at that time of year? And that's going to take some searching and some luck and some people being bold to answer that question. And I think that's actually where the answer is, rather than like, how big can we like physically do?
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. And then there comes the obvious like rescue question. I don't know the full details, but I know you guys had, obviously wind come up and you had to take the line down and perform a rescue. And it's like, whether it's money and resources, and it's like there comes a point where variables come into play, and it's like, well, we can't lower the line, or there's just too much force, we need to cut it, or like the safety ratio factors come into a very interesting like play.
Yeah, totally. It's super exciting, super interesting, and definitely not to be like it's. So it was really fun and really dangerous. We could have a whole nother talk about how to like either the rescue or how to balance all those variables. Like
yeah, maybe this is a tangent, but maybe it's a whole other talk. But yeah, it just seems like the progression. Like, I mean, back in 2020, like 500 meters, at least in California, were like the record, and there was none of the drone and what the crazy clotheslines and stuff that's going on now. It was just like, get as many people as you can to pull this across on one tagline. And somehow, like looking back, it seems crazy that we were able to rig these things and send them. But I wouldn't be surprised if in 2 years, like 5 kilometers are happening once a year at least.
who knows, dude? It's not impossible. We'll see what the future brings.
We'll see, man. Much love. I appreciate you.
Yeah, much love to you too. Thanks for the good questions. All right. I think I'm happy to stay on a little longer for these last couple questions. How about you, Drew?
Yeah, let's run through Jared and Christian's question, and then we can wrap up from there.
Cool. Sounds good. Go for it, Jared.
All right. Thanks, Danny. I appreciate you taking the time and sharing all of your knowledge and insight. It's super good stuff. Resonated with a lot of it. But yeah, my main question was, what do you do to like take care of your body apart from, your diet right before session? Like, do you stretch? Do you do yoga?
Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, my main way of taking care of myself is yoga now. I could definitely do more of it, and the more I do, the better I feel. And I'd also say just walking, like simple low stress stuff. Like I could probably add in conditioning to that, some like light strength training, and that would be even better. But for now, it's yoga and walking. Like I already do the like stuff that's hard on my body for fun, so I just try to keep it light and restorative with the conditioning.
For sure. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thanks for the question. All right, go for it, Christian.
Danny, thanks for the presentation. I just was wondering if you have any favorite type of webbing. Second question, are you going to participate this weekend in the speed line in Curitiba?
Yeah, I'm in Colombia right now for Anybody who missed that part of the beginning of the call, and there's a festival in Coriti and a speedlining comp, and I'll be there. I'll be participating. By no means will I be the fastest. Like there are some fast slackers down here, but I'll be out there having fun. Favorite webbing. I'll first boring answer, like depends on the situation. And then like off the top of my head, like, you know, Silk 99 all the way. Till Silk 99 came out, I didn't even know there's different grades of Dyneema. And Silk 99 comes out and it's like, oh, we can go lighter and smaller and be stronger. That was so freaking cool. Like, big props to Jerry for pulling that off and getting that in our hands. Like, that is a sweet technical development.
Sweet. Thank you, Danny. Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, thanks. Cool.
Super cool. Okay, Danny, appreciate you taking the time. This was awesome. Appreciate everyone for contributing to the Q&A. It was really nice to see, the community, manifest here and congregate in this space. So definitely a lot of familiar faces that I was happy to see, and names that I hope to see in the world soon. But yeah, again, thank you to Danny. Thanks for everyone taking the time this evening. Hope to see you at another Slack Talk hosted in May. But yeah, with that, I'll let everyone enjoy the rest of their evening. See you soon.
Much love. Thanks, Drew.
Peace. Thanks, y'all.
Peace.